Hello, preschool friends. It's Mrs. Crimmins, and I am here to read The Gingerbread Baby by Jan Brett. In this story, Jan Brett is our author and illustrator, so she wrote the words and the pictures. So we are going to listen to The Gingerbread Baby. It's one of my favorite gingerbread boy stories, or gingerbread man stories, and we're going to make sure that we pay close attention to the pictures because Jan Brett does something amazing with all of her pictures and her stories, in that she tells another little story in her pictures, and I'll show you that as we read the story. So we're going to get started with The Gingerbread Baby. So here we go. It was cold outside. It was warm inside. A fine day for gingerbread, Maddie thought. Maddie's mother put the big blue bowl on the table and lit the stove. Maddie took down the worn-looking cookbook with old-fashioned writing on the cover. He opened it up to the page that said, Gingerbread Boy. So if you look at our picture, here's Maddie getting the things out, and here's his mom getting the other things out, and then here, over here, in the Gingerbread Boy outline, is the cookbook. They measured and mixed. Maddie rolled the dough into the shape of a gingerbread boy, and they popped him in the oven. Bake a full 8 minutes, no more, no less. Do not peek, the recipe read. Maddie listened to the clock. Tick, tock, tick. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5. Maddie could not wait any longer. He opened the oven door to take a peek. Instead of a gingerbread boy, out jumped a gingerbread baby. He pranced around the big blue bowl. I am the gingerbread baby, fresh from the pan. If you want me, catch me if you can. So see how she adds some more details to her story in The Gingerbread Man. And there's that gingerbread baby dancing and prancing around. Maddie's mother reached for the gingerbread baby to put him back in the oven, but he ran all around the kitchen. The door opened and in came Maddie's father. What's that delicious smell? He asked as the gingerbread baby tumbled through his legs and outside into the yard. And there he goes. Look, there he goes. Look what's behind him. What do you see? Do you think that animal is going to start chasing him? He ran by the tabby cat. She twitched her tail and sprang at him. They rumbled and tumbled, but the gingerbread baby came out on top. Look at that, the gingerbread baby riding her. He ran toward the garden wall. The dog caught a whiff of tasty ginger and sniffed along behind him. But the gingerbread baby was halfway up when the dog caught up. He barked and barked as the gingerbread baby climbed over the wall. Maddie was still inside. He heard his mother and father yelling. He heard a cat meowing and a dog barking. And he heard the gingerbread baby shouting, Catch me if you can. Maddie opened the worn-looking cookbook for the second time. Meanwhile, the gingerbread baby wheeled on down the path into the barn. The goats looked up as he somersaulted across their backs. The last one tried to catch him, but the gingerbread baby was too fast. Look at him go. Martha and Madeline were standing by the well when the gingerbread baby stopped to take a drink. They looked at each other and winked. Martha started to talk to him, while Madeline tiptoed up behind him with a bucket. But they couldn't fool that gingerbread baby. And look what Maddie is doing. What is Maddie doing? What do you think he's doing? Think he might be making something? Whoops. We skipped. Sorry about this, friends. There we go. Okay, so let's kind of go back here. He ran out of the kitchen, got the cat, the dog, and he was reading in the cookbook, got the goats and Madeline and Martha. And then look, he took a braid from Martha and a braid from Madeline and tied them in a knot and ran down the road. This doesn't seem like a very nice gingerbread baby. Back in the house, Maddie stirred, mixed, and rolled the dough. He shaped it and put it in a pan and into the oven. Tick, tock, tick. 8 long minutes. This time he didn't peek. I will catch him if I can, Maddie said to himself. Oh, wonder what's going to happen now. Look, there's the gingerbread baby up here above the pig. As he was bouncing along, the gingerbread baby saw a farm wagon just ahead. He jumped in and settled down for the ride next to a mama pig. The smell of gingerbread was too much for her. She tossed him high in the air, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. But the gingerbread baby twisted in the air and came down hard on her porky snout. So he landed on her nose. I am the gingerbread baby. Too quick for the mother and the father, too fast for the cat and the dog, the goats, too clever for Martha and Madeline, too smart for the mama pig. Who's left? Catch me if you can. Who do you think he's going to run into next? Feeling smug, feeling like nobody can catch him, the gingerbread baby strolled along by himself until he came to a bridge that crossed over the village. Just as he got to the middle, he heard running feet behind him and saw a crowd of villagers ahead of him. The gingerbread baby was trapped. He jumped up onto the railing, backflipped through the air, and landed on a chunk of ice floating down the river. Now look at Maddie over here. What do you think he's making? What do you think is going to happen to the gingerbread baby? What happens to a cookie when he gets wet? He's on a chunk of ice going down a river. What do you think might happen? The ice bobbed along with the gingerbread baby, dancing on top and singing in a loud voice, "Look at me and what do you see? The best gingerbread baby ever!" Until his feet got cold and he jumped ashore. Who was watching him from the trees? It was the fox. He crept up behind the gingerbread baby, ready to eat him up. But the fox couldn't help himself, and he licked his chops. Smack, smack. The gingerbread baby heard him and ran as fast as he could. Just when the fox was catching up, the gingerbread baby saw the milk and cheese man with his can of milk. The perfect hiding place, he thought. He lifted the lid and lowered himself inside. He was so pleased that he sang at the top of his gingerbread voice, "Ha, ha, hee, hee, you'll never find me. I'm the gingerbread baby. Catch me if you can." Oh, and there's Maddie. What does it look like he's making? The milk and cheese man heard the gingerbread baby's voice. "Who is meddling with my milk?" he shouted and lifted the lid. But the gingerbread baby was ready. He jumped up and tweaked his nose. Means he pinched his nose. Boy, this gingerbread baby's not very nice, is he? Oh, and look what Maddie's making. How do you think Maddie is going to catch the gingerbread baby? Now, the milk and cheese man, the fox, the villagers, the mama pig, Martha and Madeline, the bleating goats, the barking dog, the meowing cat, the father, and the mother were all after the gingerbread baby and getting closer. And he knew it. The brash baby was not as peppy and proud as he had been. He sniffed a familiar smell and followed his nose into the woods. He couldn't believe what he saw. Look what he saw. There, in the middle of the clearing, was a gingerbread house, frosted with sugar, covered with candy, and doors with peppermint handles wide open. The gingerbread baby clapped his hands with glee and ran inside. And who's watching off to the side? Who made that house for him? In a tick-tock-tick, everyone arrived in the clearing. but all they found were a few bits of frosting, a peppermint candy, and some crumbs. The father exclaimed, "The gingerbread baby has finally met his match." "I wonder who it was," the mother said. "Let's go home and tell Maddie." Look, there's Maddie right there. What does he have? He's got the gingerbread house, doesn't he? "Hello, Maddie," his father said when they got home. "We never did catch that gingerbread baby. All we found were some crumbs in the snow." "I see you have been busy," his mother said, looking at the gingerbread house Maddie was holding. "Too bad we never caught that gingerbread baby." "Too bad," said Maddie. There's that gingerbread house. There's the cookbook. Only Maddie could hear the tiny voice from inside the gingerbread house. "I'm the little gingerbread baby, lucky as can be, to be living in the house that Maddie made for me." And that, my friends, is the story of the gingerbread baby. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, boys and girls.